Good morning or afternoon, everybody. This is Master Mimic, and we're going into October now, and basically the third quarter of 2025 is coming up, and I just wanted to do a quick announcement video just so everyone's on the same page, everyone knows, what's going on, because I already made a pretty big announcement in the PDR Discord server. And like I said, I just want to make sure everyone understands what's going on and kind of see what is going to be happening in Path of Dragons Radio in the future. Foreseeable future, but whichever. So I've always been a firm believer of getting the bad news out of the way. And it's with a heavy heart and no small amount of disappointment in myself that I announce the cancellation of Starship Phil. Again. It was a difficult decision for me to make, especially because episode 1 of the revival was actually one of the smoothest productions I've ever done. I mean, there really wasn't any real drama, or there wasn't any real hardships. Everyone got their lines to me real quick. Everyone was super on board with everything. Everyone brought a lot of passion to the project. It was just simply failures on my part. What essentially happened was I lost passion and motivation in the project. My inspiration going forward, Jackie and I were watching a lot of like Rick and Morty. We were watching a lot of the Orville, these little sci-fi shows that kind of got the creative juices flowing for Starship Phil. But when we came out of those and I was just kind of writing just for the fun of it, I realized it really wasn't fun for me. I would go over scripts. I think chapter 2 or episode 2 and 3 were very difficult for me to write for some reason. Like, I was just not satisfied. I kept getting really frustrated. There were a couple of occasions where I would hit the old, Control A, delete, start from scratch, and it got to the point where I was more stressed writing it than I was having fun. A complete polar opposite to whenever I do a Darklands episode or when I do a chapter of Misfits of Dawnwood. Those I have a lot of fun with. Those, the creative juices just kind of keep flowing. I go on this great roll. I can, just write and write until the, small hours of the night, just keeping things on going. But then I would get to that point where I'm just, with Starship Phil, I get to that point where I'm just not having fun. And that's the main thing I can say. And so, because of that, I can't do it, because if I am not putting 100% into a project, then only people who are going to be hurting is everyone else. And the last thing I want to do is disappoint anybody. Anyone I want to do is waste anyone's time. On that last note, I want to quickly say, for those who did, provide voice work for Starship Phil episode 1, and those who are just interested in see what could have been, I do have some good news here. A little silver lining. Bumble Bear Creations. I think I said Bubble Bear. Bumble Bear Creations very generously came forward and said that since we already had all the lines assembled, and since this project wasn't really going to go anywhere, they offered to premiere the first episode of the revival on their upcoming podcast, Difora. And I thought that was a fantastic idea. Difora is already shaping up to be one of those things I'm definitely going to be listening to religiously. It's kind of it sounds like it's a kind of a showcase of audio drama one-shots that people make and they, publish out there just to kind of, give some people the spotlight. And I think it's a great idea for them to, publish Starship Phil Episode 1 just so that we don't put any of the talent that people, asserted into the production, so it doesn't go to waste. Now, I'm always, like I said, although I am a believer of delivering the bad news before the good, I also think of, if I'm taking something away, I need to give something in return. So I am announcing the Halloween premiere of Vondrasul, a project I have been very excited about. Vondrasul is my personal first foray into full horror. It is set in a fantasy world with a group of mercenaries journeying into the frostbitten lands of Bjortar to hunt down the mysterious monster known as the Vondrasul. The production is also our first, dare I say, R-rated feature, NSFW. There's strong language, there's intense violence, and there are adult situations, including, that stuff. So I'm very excited to see how that goes forward, and if things go positive from there, I actually do have other productions coming down the pipeline, namely 3 of them referred to as Frog Among Dwarves, a special being cooked up between me and Juan Balcazar, Third Wagon to Sekatharis, and finally The Last Gamble. These 3 projects are going to be our way of testing the waters to see what sticks, basically, and if the general audience reaction to these projects is positive, that's when we can go forward with the next step. I'm not going to say exactly what it is, but let me just say real quick, it is something I've been wanting to do for years now. And finally, to wrap up the announcement, I have also been wanting to dabble into what I'm calling subchapters of Misfits of Dawnwood. Subchapters of Misfits of Dawnwood. Basically, they are going to be these one-shot little productions focusing on the recurring characters of the Misfits of Dawnwood universe. Like, for example, the Osric family in Button, maybe the crew over there in Waterton City. I mean, the sky's the limit, really. And the whole point of them is just kind of to flesh them out a little bit more, expand on the larger universe of Misfits. And I actually did a poll. I stretched it across 4 different platforms. One was on the Discord server for Path of Dragons Radio. Then I placed one on Twitter. I placed one on Blue Sky. And I placed one over here on YouTube, basically to say, who would you want to see get their start? And by a pretty sizable degree, it looks like the winner of the poll would be the introduction of a new character who will appear in a future episode. Now, I want to say real quick, all the choices that are up on that poll, they will get their own episodes. So for those who voted and theirs wasn't the top pick, well, don't worry. They will all get theirs. It's just a matter of who goes first. So this new character, I want to say real quick, is somebody that that Jackie and I have been very excited about introducing to Misfits of Dawnwood. He is easily one of her favorite NPCs. He's personally one of my favorite NPCs. He's a fan favorite at the table, and to bring him to life, to fully adapt him, is going to be a real treat, and I am so excited to be able to write this script and to go forward from there. So stay tuned, everybody. So all in all, although Starship Phil will not be coming forward as a full series, you can check out episode 1 on Difora when it does premiere. I will be announcing that when the time comes, so do not worry about that. In the meantime, stay tuned for the Vondrasul Halloween premiere, as well as the arrivals of Frog Among Dwarves, Third Wagon to Sekatharis, and The Last Gamble, as well as the subchapters for Misfits of Dawnwood. There's still a lot coming on down the road, people, so do not lose faith in us. This has been Master Mimic, and I hope every single one of you has an amazing day. Thank you so much for listening. Bye-bye.